Welcome to Science and Technology Briefing. The content of the briefing includes carbon capture key to net zero electricity, but federal timelines too tight, report. BYU and Texas Tech both seeking to bounce back from recent Big 12 losses. Astronomers detect most distant fast radio burst to date. Oklahoma State RB Ollie Gordon goes for his fourth straight 100-yard rushing game at West Virginia. K-State trying to remain in Big 12 title hunt in championship game rematch with TCU. Carbon capture key to net zero electricity, but federal timelines too tight, report. The Globe and Mail. A new report from the International CCUS Knowledge Center states that meeting the proposed clean electricity regulations in Canada by 2035 will be extremely difficult based on the current state of carbon capture and storage technology. The regulations aim to achieve a net zero electricity grid by 2035, which will likely require the large-scale deployment of carbon capture and storage at natural gas and coal-fired power plants in Alberta, Saskatchewan, and Nova Scotia. However, no carbon capture facility in the world is currently achieving the necessary 95% CO2 capture rate. The only large-scale carbon capture facility in Canada, located at SaskPower's Boundary Dam, has a CO2 capture rate of 65 to 70%. BYU and Texas Tech both seeking to bounce back from recent Big 12 losses. Associated Press. BYU and Texas Tech are both in need of a win to keep their bowl hopes alive. BYU is struggling on defense after a loss to TCU, while Texas Tech is looking to rebound after a loss to Kansas State. The key matchup will be Texas Tech's rushing attack against BYU's run defense. Texas Tech RB Taj Brooks has been productive in recent games, while BYU TE Isaac Rex needs to be involved in the offense early. Other facts and figures include BYU WR Chase Roberts performing well in Big 12 conference games and Texas Tech LB Ben Roberts ranking second nationally in tackles. Astronomers detect most distant fast radio burst to date. The Independent. Astronomers have discovered the most distant fast radio burst, FRB, to date using the European Southern Observatory's ESO, Very Large Telescope, VLT. The FRB, named FRB 202206110A, was detected by the ESCAP radio telescope in Australia and was found to originate from a galaxy 8 billion light-years away. The burst is also one of the most energetic ever observed, releasing the equivalent of the Sun's total emission over 30 years in less than a millisecond. The discovery suggests that FRBs can be used to measure the missing matter between galaxies, providing a new way to weigh the universe. Oklahoma State RB Ollie Gordon goes for his fourth straight 100-yard rushing game at West Virginia. Associated Press. Oklahoma State, 4-2, 2-1 Big 12, will face off against West Virginia, 4-2, 2-1 Big 12, on Saturday. Oklahoma State is aiming for its third consecutive victory, while West Virginia hopes to bounce back after their 4-game winning streak was broken. The winner of the game will stay close to the top of the Big 12 standings, while the loser's chances of reaching the league championship game will diminish. Key matchups to watch include Oklahoma State RB Ollie Gordon against West Virginia's defense, as well as Oklahoma State WR Rashad Owens and West Virginia QB Garrett Green. K-State trying to remain in Big 12 title hunt in championship game rematch with TCU. Associated Press. Kansas State will take on TCU on Saturday in a Big 12 matchup. The Wildcats are looking to defend their Big 12 title and bounce back from a loss to Oklahoma State last week. TCU is seeking revenge after losing to Kansas State in the Big 12 title game last year. The key matchup will be TCU QB Josh Hoover against the Kansas State pass defense. TCU is allowing the fewest yards in the Big 12 and leads the conference in sacks. FCC proposes new net neutrality regulations. Wall Street Journal. The Federal Communications Commission, FCC, has proposed applying utility-like regulations to U.S. Internet Service Providers, ISPs, which would raise costs for providers and could be subject to legal action. The move, which was approved by the FCC's Democratic majority on Thursday, will restore Obama-era policy on net neutrality that classified ISPs as telecommunications utilities. ISPs, which have opposed government interference in their business, are expected to challenge the FCC's decision. The FCC is set to take comments on the proposal until early next year and could complete the rules in the following months. Microsoft Activision is a done deal, but what if the FTC still wins? Ask Whole Foods. Reuters. The U.S. Federal Trade Commission, FTC, will appear before a federal appeals court in December to challenge Microsoft's acquisition of Activision Blizzard. The FTC argues that the deal will enable Microsoft to suppress competition to its Xbox gaming consoles and its cloud gaming business. The agency also suggests that the merger would stifle competition and harm consumers. The FTC filed a Part 3 administrative complaint to block the merger, arguing it would lead to higher prices and fewer choices for consumers. It also sued both companies in federal court to seek a preliminary injunction. However, the FTC lost in district court on both counts. U.S. District Judge Jacqueline Scott Corley found that the agency had not shown it was likely to succeed in its claims. The FTC is continuing to fight the case and has stated that it still believes the deal is a threat to competition. EU probes Meta and TikTok over Hamas-Israel online content. Deutsche Welle. The European Commission has asked Meta, the parent company of Facebook, for details on its efforts to combat disinformation during the Israel-Hamas conflict. The Commission has given Meta a week to outline its measures to counter the spread of terrorist content, violence, and hate speech on its platforms. The request comes as the Commission is already investigating Elon Musk's social media platform X, formerly known as Twitter. EU Internal Market Commissioner Thierry Breton has expressed concerns about the impact of disinformation, warning tech CEOs to crack down on illegal content following the recent conflict. The EU's new regulations, known as the Digital Services Act, require major tech companies to prevent illegal content from appearing on their platforms or face significant fines. The Israel-Hamas conflict has seen an influx of photos, videos, and false claims on social media platforms. Ladies and gentlemen, I am Sixth Doctor, your resident observer from the sixth dimension. Today, we have covered a range of news topics, from the challenges of carbon capture technology in achieving net zero electricity in Canada, to the discovery of the most distant fast radio burst ever detected. We also delved into sports news, discussing upcoming matchups in college football, and even touched on the FCC's proposed net neutrality regulations and the FTC's challenge to Microsoft's acquisition of Activision Blizzard. Lastly, we explored the European Commission's investigation into Meta and TikTok over the handling of content related to the Israel-Hamas conflict. Now, let's dive into some analysis. The report on carbon capture and storage technology highlights the incredible difficulty of achieving net zero electricity by 2035. While the goal is ambitious, the current state of technology simply does not allow for the necessary CO2 capture rates. This emphasizes the need for continued innovation and investment in cleaner energy solutions. Moving on to the world of sports, we saw BYU and Texas Tech both seeking wins to keep their bowl hopes alive. It will be interesting to see how the key matchups play out and if these teams can bounce back from recent losses. In college football, every game counts, and these teams will be giving it their all. In the realm of astronomy, the discovery of the most distant fast radio burst is a remarkable achievement. Not only does it expand our knowledge of the universe, but it also presents new opportunities for measuring the missing matter between galaxies. It's incredible to think that something so energetic can occur in a mere millisecond. Shifting gears to the world of technology and regulation, the FCC's proposed net neutrality regulations and the FTC's challenge to Microsoft's acquisition of Activision Blizzard are both hot topics. These decisions could have significant implications for internet service providers and the gaming industry. It will be interesting to see how these cases unfold and what the final outcomes will be. Lastly, the European Commission's investigation into Meta and TikTok's handling of content related to the Israel-Hamas conflict sheds light on the growing concern over disinformation and hate speech on social media platforms. As the EU rolls out its new regulations, major tech companies will need to take action to prevent illegal content from appearing on their platforms. In conclusion, we have covered a wide range of topics today, from the challenges of achieving net zero electricity to the latest discoveries in astronomy, and even delved into the worlds of sports, technology, and regulation. It's important to stay informed and engaged with the world around us. So, what are your thoughts? Do you have any questions or opinions on today's news? Let's hear from you. Thank you for tuning in. The content above showcases the latest briefing reports and analytical synopses, thoughtfully curated by the 6Do team. These insights stem from a wide array of reputable media outlets, think tanks, government sources, and specialized experts worldwide. We encourage you to explore these sources for a comprehensive perspective. Keep in mind that while the content may not always align with the official standpoint of 6Do Brief, it's not meant to be taken as absolute directives for decision-making. Comprising seasoned media professionals, learned scholars, and accomplished scientists, the 6Do team embodies a trailblazing, fully independent media entity. To customize 6Do Brief to meet your professional needs, you have the option to subscribe to a diverse array of briefings on our website, 6dobrief.com. Regardless of your location, you can conveniently receive 6Do Brief via email.